Alright, thank you very much. Hello everybody, it's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm back in action with another look at another movie that I'm going to be reviewing real fast for you. And what's that movie today? Of course, it's going to be The Black Cat from the 1981 version now. Basically, if you ever want to see a movie that tries to emulate Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, now there's the Black Cat, and they never really gave him a name, at least not that I know of, and that was always a shame. I wanted to put him in that same level, because he's at that same, body count, slasher, killing everybody movie, and it's a cat. It's not, the Black Cat's not a metaphor, it's an actual black cat, and this cat basically used to do the bidding of his master. There's a psychic who communicates with the dead and can use his mental powers to control people and control animals. But something's going wrong, and the psychic is losing his control over the cat, and now the cat is taking out its revenge on everybody and everything else, even from beyond the grave. How does he do it? Well, you might have to watch this movie, and that's something I really can't decide whether or not to recommend or not. The Black Cat, you see, has got to be the most absurd premise I've ever seen in a movie that took itself seriously. And that's one thing that kills me about The Black Cat, is that this is a movie that, didn't try to be it's not a joke. This isn't comedy. This isn't a satire or a spoof. This is the story, not even close to what Edgar Allan Poe had wrote, but, the ending, they took it from Edgar Allan Poe. And there's just the worst special effects you can imagine, even for 1981. When you see bats flying around, yes, it's the same bats you see in a kindergarten room on wires, and you can see the wires, they're flopping all around. You see this one guy getting all bloodied because of the cat, but you don't see a single scratch mark. And speaking of scratch marks, one of the best parts of this movie was that this lady was taking pictures, okay? Now this is a real cat, little paws, right? But she took pictures of this one dead guy's hand, and these claw marks are humongous. I mean, they're like inches apart, not just, slightly apart, they're like far apart. It's almost as if he was sliced by a bear or a tiger, not a little kitty. And yet everyone else, when she sees the cuts, it's just these little cuts. And of course, the one thing you got to remember is that a black cat, if it's killing people, how are you going to prove that? Despite all the evidence that the black cat is doing it, how do you really prove to people in the modern age, the age of reason and everything, that a black cat is actually committing these crimes? So it took itself very seriously, despite the absurd premise and the absurd way things happened. They really tried to sell you on the idea that this was happening, and they almost succeeded. They did almost succeed. The only reason they didn't succeed is because ultimately we're just too intelligent for that kind of stuff. This is one of those movies where you do want to sit down and just say, okay, let it happen. Just go for it. I can only imagine the pain people went through making this movie, and how they saying, okay, this is what's going to be happening to you. And they got to be looking at their Georgia saying, really? It's got to be, yep, you're doing this for a paycheck. I believe it. Is it ludicrous to the point of being stupid? No, that's what really makes it work. The cast was dedicated in this movie. They really gave you a sensation that they were acting like a real person would act in a situation like this. So The Black Cat, it's a decide. I mean, if you like horror movies, slasher movies, this might be your cup of tea. I just, ultimately, I wish The Black Cat would have more explanation as to the why everything was happening. Things were just happening too haphazard, too willy-nilly. And that's kind of what took away from The Black Cat. Alright guys, that's it for me today. We'll see you at the theaters.